Good morning, everybody. We'll have a lot
Morning.
more field trips next year, hopefully.
Oh, good.
So today we are going to go on an adventure. I'm going to call today an adventure through your mind. So yesterday, one of the fundamental building blocks I shared with you was how do we really understand what has not worked for us in our business planning, right? So hit yes in the chat if you want to know how to think through your excuses and actually turn them into actionable items. If everyone doesn't write yes, I'm going to be very worried. And for some of you sending me messages, yes, I do sleep several hours a night, but when you're enthusiastic and excited about what you're doing, the time just kind of evaporates. And this not having time is really just an illusion. Because in the end of the day, if you look at your cell phones, you look at your schedules, and you look at what you all do what you feel like doing. So if you want to do something different, you need to understand how to work with your mind. I see Corey laughing. You need to learn to work through your thoughts. A big part of business growth is this aspect of performance coaching. How do I get the most out of myself? And if you could look in the mirror and understand how to unlock that part, that's when you could really feel like you can do anything. So I need a volunteer today, right? Because I would say the best way to do this is with people and to show people exactly what this is like, what the process looks like. Because the last thing that we want to do is give you a bunch of hypothetical nonsense that makes no sense to you, right? So who wants to be a volunteer today? Now, being a volunteer today means A, being vulnerable and sharing your excuses. 2, it's going to involve us working through the excuses. So essentially 0 to 1, right? I'm going to put this link back in the chat so everyone could just kind of hop into this doc. All right, so everyone get into this doc. This is our 6-part business planning process, right? And so who's going to be my volunteer today?
I'll volunteer.
Someone who normally doesn't. Who's that?
Doug Lee.
My man on the West Coast. Doug, you're like the perfect person to do this because you're like a serial overthinker. So this is good.
Yeah, that's definitely me.
All right, cool. So here's kind of the 3-step process, right? I'm going to share my screen here.
Yeah.
So we're going to identify what Doug's challenges, right? And everyone do this for themselves. The second thing is we're going to identify a solution. And the third thing is the action item, like how is this actually going to show up in your schedule, right? Because one of the biggest disconnects in business planning is you write down a bunch of stuff on a piece of paper and then there's nothing in your schedule, so it doesn't happen. So Doug, what are one of your challenges in planning?
I guess right now it's just keeping a structured schedule. So I normally cold call. So I want to keep the schedule from like 8 until 12, just pure prospecting. And I'm on the phone.
So what gets in the way?
I have a team meeting at 8:30, and then I allow myself to put out fires on my deals before noon.
Okay, so number 1, you have to identify the difference between an objection and a condition. Objection is essentially an excuse or feeling not to do something, right? And a condition is something that you can't change. Having a team meeting is something you can't get out of. It's like an absolute. So unless your team meeting moves, like that time it's not going to work. So let's say 9 to 12, right? So now your challenge is,
I got another one that's better than this.
Don't worry. We have a few to get through. Stopping prospecting every time a client calls and you feel like you have to respond, right?
Right.
So what's the solution?
Well, like you said, time blocking, right? Really staying
Well,
committed to this.
you already do time block because in your mind, you're supposed to do this every day and you're still not doing it, right? So
Right.
what is the actual solution to stopping what you're doing every single time somebody calls?
I have to, I mean, I have to be aware that I'm letting my anxiety take control of me. And I have to basically discipline myself not to respond till past noon.
Have the discipline to understand I'm going to put this in bold, the value of being focused and saying no to the calls up front. The other part of this is understanding the cost to your business and life for not following through on your promise to yourself, right?
Mm. Mm. Okay.
Now watch this action item. Fill out the KPIs of money, put the numbers in front of you every day so there is a clear loss if you don't stay disciplined, right? That's one action item. You want to know the second action item?
Mm. Okay.
Track every client request that interrupts your prospecting, then proactively build the solutions into your sales process.
Cool.
So think about this, right? We don't like we talked about this yesterday. Real growth is applying strategy to your business, right? But if you don't have a strategy and you don't have a plan and then you don't know what to do, you're not going to do anything and you're just going to get more of the same, right? So
Right.
if we catalog every single objection, every single client thing, number one, if we're doing that, we can proactively build better solutions, right? So guys,
Right.
I just gave you a 3-step framework on doing anything. So like if you have clients that have objections challenging, what's the challenge? Why? So if you're doing this for your client, right? So let's just, I'm not good with this, but let's see. Watch this now. So now say I did this for clients, right? Do you guys like how we do this in real time? You know, someone, Doug, asked me the other day, they go, we hear you really do this stuff live with agents. And I'm like, yeah, it shows that you actually know what you're doing and you're not full of crap, right? Because it's very easy to tell people what to do. But it's much harder to sit here and do this in real time, unplanned with anyone's challenges. And the reason I do it that way is because I want to show you guys that anything is possible, that we're all in this together. Everyone has the same challenges. And what we really need to do is identify clear processes and strategies for growth. So if I did this for a client, to challenge, why or what is my client contacting me about, right? I would categorize them all in here. Solution. What can I do going forward to proactive, I can't spell, guys, proactively solve the challenge, right? And the action items, the steps I will take to bake the solution into my sales process. Does this make a lot of sense to everybody? Just type in the chat, so make sure no one's lost.
Chirag, I just want to say, like, the framework makes sense, but I feel like your comments that you said, that wasn't as intuitive to me. I think that, like you said, understanding the cost of the business, I mean, I understand that, but basically that promise to yourself, that was kind of a light bulb that went off for me when you said that. And when I'm trying to do this framework on myself, I guess I'm just, I would have missed that. That's all. Yeah.
Well, look, you're in the picture, you can't see the frame, right? Like, I use a coach too. I probably spend more money on coaching than it literally makes my tax planner sick. The guy never can understand why I spend so much money on advice. But if you really want to grow, you have to invest in yourself. I don't claim to have all the solutions, right? Like, if you're looking to go somewhere where you've never gone before, you have to hire someone that's already been there to teach it to you. Or you can just sit there and suffer through time, which is always an option, right? So it's, look, the reason that you want the costs in front of you is so you understand, if I don't do this job today of proactively reaching out to people and creating new business that doesn't exist today, I just burn this much money today, right?
Right.
So a cost of a day could be $1,500. A cost of a week could be $5,000. And if you're not doing these things, you're literally burning money, and you're setting yourself up for a financial disaster in the future. The amount of real estate agents that are in debt is disgusting. The amount of people that have tax debt is burdensome, right? The amount of people living with anxiety and fear as a result is sad. It's because they don't know how to think through any of these things. And if you don't understand, if you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. All right, let's go through another challenge you have.
Doing my probate YouTube channel. I've been resistant to getting on social media.
Why?
I just have a lot of conversations. I don't look good on video.
Yeah.
Stupid, but it's true. I think the TikTok stuff is really silly. These are negative conversations I'm having, but then I just do a lease with it.
He was like, I don't want to get on you.
Thank you for muting themselves. So look, number one, right? The challenge is here. I don't like the way I look on social media and feel self-conscious, right?
Well said. Yes.
Jeremy he had a great comment in here. If the solutions and action items aren't meaningful and personal, then we won't change our behaviors. Exactly. And that's why, Jeremy, I want to teach people the thought process on going through this so you could personalize it, right? And Jennifer Vick said, I spent so much money on coaching, I needed time to actually do it. Number one, just stay here and stick with one ecosystem, right? If not, the difference is, imagine going to 10 little Italian grandmothers for their secret sauce recipe and trying to figure out how to put it together and hoping it'll come out one way, right? The nice part about working within one ecosystem is everything is geared towards one centralized solution. And for people that are like, oh, I need time to implement, right? That's fine. Time block in your calendar. If you're signed up for coaching, you're not signed up for, you don't have blocks to do the work in, you're missing the whole point. And the other part that someone else shared in the chat, which would be helpful, is, listen, 3 hours of straight prospecting is unrealistic, right? Taking 10, 15-minute breaks an hour just to return calls is realistic, especially if you get anxious about this stuff. And eventually you can get it less and less. You could use the client-facing version and work through the sales process, but give yourself a break, right? Where you get stuck is you want everything to be perfect. Nothing is perfect in life. One of my favorite quotes is from Steve Jobs. It says, if you want to make everybody happy, go sell ice cream. And my answer to that is that doesn't even work, because there are people that are lactose intolerant, right? No one's ever going to be happy. Nothing's ever going to be perfect. Like, you have to accept it, right? Like one of my own personal affirmations is, I am my own perfect imperfection, And I accept that, right? The other thing about video and the way that you look, if you're focused on yourself and how you look, you already lost what you're doing the video for. The video is about other people and the value you can give, right?
Right.
That's number one. Number two, the last time I checked, people know what you look like and they know what you sound like. So unless you want to go in the witness protection program and stop selling real estate, it's inevitable, right? Number three, and this is the most important one, you're never going to like what you look like. You're never going to like what you sound like, and that's okay. Ask me how many of the videos that I shoot I watch. You want to know what the number is? Take a guess. Put it in the chat.
0.
Bingo.
Because it's not about you,
hate,
it's about other people, right?
No, I hate the way I look. I hate the way I sound. The last thing I want to do is hear myself do anything. There's over 700 videos. I don't watch any of them. I could care less. I make them for all of you. And I just need to make sure that somebody else on my team or a friend of mine edits it and audits it. And if it's good, that's fine. I'm literally watching the videos for sound quality, lighting, and that's the stuff I'm picking apart. Come from your heart, be who you are.
Okay.
So the solution is understanding the video is for other people and not make the process about yourself. The only focus should be on how the video can give the most value to whomever watches it. Do you know people also get caught in these video views, right? Who cares? I remember I had a video I made when I sold real estate. It had 5 views and I got 3 clients out of it. Like in the last time I checked, 50, 60, 70 people taking the time out of their day to look at anything is amazing. These people have 24 hours in the day and they chose to spend several minutes of it on what you had to share. If you start thinking about it like that and coming from a place of gratitude, it's really different, right? So what's your action item? Create a time block and make your first video and get started. That's it. Share the video with a friend or team member for quality control, and that's it.
Okay.
Is this helpful for you, Doug?
Yeah, this was great. This was awesome.
All right.
Dropping
So
knowledge.
hit client if you want me to show you how to do a client facing one in the chat. Thank you, Doug. All right, cool. All right, who wants to be the next volunteer? This is the fun part. Now, you're welcome, man. Dude, you wake up every single day. You inspire me. It's 6:30 in the morning and you're here every single day, right? So look, you're committed to doing the work. We just got to get you out of your own head and realize that, look, here's the way that human behavior and psychology work. Everything we do, it works in terms of cost and payoffs, right? So essentially any behavior, any choice we make has a payoff, right? And then when you realize that your 2 primary needs as a human is certainty and comfort, look at the payoffs. It's certainty and comfort every single time, right? So when you realize like, oh, I don't have enough time, that's a payoff. It's a justification statement of not doing something. So the example I use is this, like say you're a smoker, right? The payoff is, oh, it helps me deal with stress. It helps me be social. I like to do it when I drink. It's all those stupid things, right? But then when you go to a doctor and the doctor says, if you smoke, you're going to have emphysema and you're at high risk for it. When the cost becomes greater than the payoff, the behavior changes, right? So if you're looking to change your behaviors, look at what the mental payoff that you're getting is. And it's generally around certainty and comfort. So who's the next volunteer for client facing? This is my favorite part. Now you can give me all your client nonsense. I call it nonsense because the stuff that people ask for is just insane. Who's up next? We'll have a female or woman come on down. Lisa Abrams. Good morning. Am I saying Lassie? How do I pronounce your name correctly? I'm sorry.
Lissy, Lisi, like
Lissy.
anything else.
That's a beautiful name. I'm
Thank
sorry
you.
I pronounced it wrong.
No
Let's
problem.
see. Okay, cool. What is your client challenge?
What is my, okay, a current client challenge is the amount of hand holding that I need to do with an elderly client.
Okay, so the first thing you want to identify is this something that is inevitable based on who the person is, or is this something you proactively solve for? An elderly client is fearful of change, correct?
Correct.
Let me guess, it's a seller?
Correct.
Exactly. This is not a challenge. This is a human being, right?
Correct.
And they've lived in a house, they have to move their stuff, some stuff's going in storage, or telling them to make it different. They're scared of where they're going to go. It's generally this is going to be their last part of their life, so they don't want to make the wrong decision. This is psychology. This is not like, I can't give you some wizard ninja stuff here to do it, but this just comes down to listening.
Fact. I agree with you.
All right,
you're
give me
right.
another one.
Okay, you're right. That's not much of a challenge. Another one. Managing the expectations of a highly unrealistic seller
Perfect.
that overtalks, no matter what boundaries you set.
Oh, I love behavior resetting. Hold on. Okay, perfect. So the solution is sharing the market in a way that it is the seller's own words and personal interpretation. Jesus, no answer. Oh, maybe interpretation. Right. So when you share the market with somebody else, if you're speaking to them, now they're going to process the information one way. If you're asking them questions and they're providing the answers, it's their own words and they'll present it a different way. So there's a video when one of these market shift webinars, or it's our blueprint program, I'm not sure which one. So we will, all right, so this is where I need to be better. Okay, please, I'm going to tell you all this, and everyone on my team is going to kill me. Please don't send 100 emails to support email that says, where is this video that's talking about this thing, right? I need to be better in doing that because they get completely overloaded when we do these sessions, right? So I will find the video about sharing the market and we'll give it to you in the recap email on Saturday, right? So I can do that myself. But when you share the market in a way that it's the seller's words, then it becomes very different, right? Because at the end of doing this, the action item that you also want to do is practice sharing the market through a question-based approach and the CSC, 7 keys to effective conversation method, right?
Mm-hmm.
So actually, I'll go through this with you live. Like I would pull up the comps, right? And I'd ask the guy a question. How many days did the house on the market? 5. What was the list price to the sales price? What sellers wanted versus buyers will pay? This much money. What was ultimately the sales price? Great. And I'd go through a few ones. So out of this, what you're saying is that the average days on market has gone up to by 50 days. The list price to sales price, how much people are getting, has gone down by 5%. Ultimately, this is how much a home will sell in this neighborhood. Is that correct?
Correct.
And they're going to say, great. So how do you feel that your home positions to these other homes?
Perfect. You're right. Just reframing the conversation. And that's smart when you're dealing with a person that feels as though they have the answer. So beyond listening, you're right. We need to shift the conversation so it becomes that seller's idea. And then it's a whole different dynamic that you set up.
Bingo. And then you can use words like you said, right?
Right.
And listen, Heidi, this is why if we go back here, skills. This is a skill to have, right? It's hard to shift on spot sometimes. Like it's not hard. It's hard because you don't practice it, right? When you look at children, it's very hard for them to walk. They fall on their face all the time, right? But then after they do it a bunch of times, all of a sudden they start walking, and all of a sudden they start running, and then all of a sudden it becomes normal. Well, when you do this in the beginning, you're going to fall on your face too, and that's okay, right? But you guys need to practice, right? Like we all have all these problems that suck hours out of our day, literally hours. But yet no one wants to sit here and put the 20 minutes a day it takes to practice. You know, John Wooden said it best. Everyone wants to be on a championship team, but nobody wants to go to practice. Everyone wants to make $1 million+ a year, but they don't want to wake up, eat healthy, go to the gym, have a solid routine, and say no to things, right? The art of growth is the art of saying no. So this is as simple as we can make it. Are we all aligned on the thought process that we need to do? Can I make a video doing this with a mock client? You know what we'll do? I have something even better yet. Next session, I will do this live for you, right? And I actually have stuff. I just need to go back in a little vault of information and find it. And it's going to be in the recap email. Now, whoever's here today, I'm specifically asking you not to email the stuff because we'll find the right video and give it to you. And if you do email, I'm going to call you out on the next call. So we'll see how well of listeners you guys are to kind of following this. Do not be impulsive. Do not overload our team. They always spend a lot to make this experience what it is. And look, this was something that was not part of our original business planning thing. So, you know, look, in the end, put the time into yourself, improve your thought process. No, please do not email me directly. I hope you're kidding. So if you realize the value of doing this, you'll realize the value of growth. You know, if you realize that all you have to do is look in the mirror and change your habits, it's really simple. Nobody's doing any of this, which means there's so much opportunity for you. I love that you guys are having fun with me. Thank you guys. That's good. So look, keep being different. Keep being authentic to yourself. Keep looking in the mirror and understand that self-awareness is one of the most important skills that you can have. And the better you understand who you are, how your brain works, and what stops you, the better you can be. All right, so no one write in this sheet. I just built this template in here. So you guys can copy this, and Miriam's a troublemaker. This is great. I'm very much enjoying your chat right now. So look, with love in my heart, I love you all. And listen, go out and be different. Go out and be great. The world needs you. And people need certainty. People need plans. People need people with confidence. And if you don't know how to talk to people, you come all across uncertain and you create doubt. And all those calls that you guys don't want from people, like why these people keep calling me, it's because we didn't do a good enough job in the beginning explaining things to them in their own words that make sense to them. Listen, in the end, data is data. How you help people interpret it is what creates confidence. Matt Breitenbach. So here we go. Here's a good example. I'm going to shout Matt out. Matt's out in the Hamptons. Matt crushed $300 million last year. He's one of the top 50 small teams. And the dude is on the phone all day long. All day calling people, literally. Learn to love calls, right? So, and he's on here listening to calls as well too, right? So it goes to show you that no matter where you are in your process, there's always room for improvement. So I felt this was a very great call. This was a solid week for us, right? So next week, we're going to get into step 2, the customer experience scorecard. And we're going to walk through, again, the same exact thought process, the same framework on how to improve these parts of the process. Just hit yes. I know we're a couple minutes over. Hit yes if this framework is helpful for actually showing you how to do the work. So I understand where all of you are. All right, good. I don't want anyone to be confused. I don't want anyone to feel like they don't have the information, right? Like it's very hard. People show up for coaching all the time. And they're like, well, how do I do it? I'm like, well, that's our job. So I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great day. Bye, everybody. Oh, wait, we have a webinar later on 5 ways to grow your business. So If you have not signed up yet, we will be posting something on Instagram. Check your email. There's already something in there. And I'll see you all later. Bye-bye.